rural, that's hard to say. In rural Jefferson County, I don't live in the city limits. I live out of town. When I go to my polling place in an area that is sparsely populated, I have to show my ID. I have to give them proof that I am a valid human being, citizen of the United States of America. That's what I have to do. And the Supreme Court says, that's voter disenfranchisement. I mean, somebody might not be allowed to vote. Are you kidding me? See, I get it. I know what this is about. Three-judge panel in Washington ruled Thursday that the law imposes strict, unforgiving burdens on the poor, and noted that racial minorities in Texas are more likely to live in poverty. I think this should go to the Supreme Court, is what I think. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. West Nile virus causes cases rise 40% in 1 week. U.S. health officials say West Nile virus cases are up 40% since last week and are on pace to rival the record years of 2002-2003. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has and that's interesting. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Oh, I get that. I get that. Let's not have any diseases. Let's fix it to where mankind never has another disease. I think I understand that. Has confirmed 1,590 cases of mosquito. That's how my son-in-law from Kenya says it, mosquito. Cases of the mosquito-borne disease and 66 deaths so far this year. Half of the cases are in Texas. You know what you do, Texas? When them mosquitoes bite you, you bite back. Come on, you're Texans, for crying out loud. What's wrong with you? Health officials think cases have peaked or are peaking now, but likely will continue through October. By the way, did you hear about the mosquito that bit Chuck Norris? It turned into Chuck Norris. Can you believe that? Anyway, I have got, Hurricane Isaac. I've got a little thing I wanted to share with you today, a little Bible study on Hurricane Isaac. I recorded the Watchman video broadcast for next week this morning, and I think it came out good, and I dealt with Hurricane Isaac and the symbolism of it, and I'll go ahead and tell you guys. But you guys have to keep it a big hush-hush secret. You can't tell anybody what I'm going to tell you. It's going to come out in the Watchman video broadcast next week. There is, listen to this now, catch this. There is a 9/11 connection with this hurricane. I am dead. That's what got me going to do this Watchman, because I was going to do the thing on the Olympic closing ceremony, and I'm still got that in the queue, but there is a 9/11 connection with this hurricane, and you'll see it in next week's Watchman video broadcast. But I want to deal with a subject that's kind of related to that, because I had talked about this on Tuesday. I talked about the idea of the Southern decadence thing that's going on in New Orleans, Louisiana right now. Neither rain nor shine nor cold and sleet will prevent the sodomites from sodomizing one another in Sodom land. There is no hurricane that can hold them back. And my take on this, and I dealt with this Tuesday, and I said it again in the Watchman broadcast this morning, the idea that these people are so bent on doing this thing that they're going to be doing in New Orleans, Louisiana, they're not going to let what is, to me, the clear hand of God stop them. They're basically saying, God, you cannot stop us. You cannot keep us from doing this. And if they think that way, listen to me, if the sodomite of America thinks that way about God, who do you think you are? And your little voting bloc or your conservative politicians or anything, you're not going to stop them. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The sodomite agenda is going to continue, and it's going to go and move forward and gain ground and gain political pressure, and it's going to do that until America is in flames like Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm hearing from you folk in Nederland that you cannot preach or speak out against in a public forum anywhere against sodomy or sodomites. You can't do it. Am I right on that? Yeah, I'm getting yes. You can't do that. Wow. And that's coming to America. But to me, the significance of the Hurricane Isaac that made landfall at exactly the same day in the same place 7 years from Hurricane Katrina. And this one was only a Category 1 hurricane, which means it didn't have the really strong winds that Katrina had. Katrina was a Category 5. I mean, this was a big, bad, nasty woman hurricane. And Isaac is like her little brother moving in. It was a slow-moving storm, and by the way, it is headed to our top-secret broadcasting bunker here in 1233 American Legion Drive. It's headed here by Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and all day Saturday, and we're going, woo! We finally get some rain, man, because we're like 1.5 feet shy of having normal rainfall this year. And so we're just watching for the rain. We're going, yeah, bring it on. But anyway, Isaac is a slow-moving rainmaker, is what it is. And what has happened in New Orleans and the bayous and the swamps, that's a very swampy area down there, is that it is flooding. New Orleans, in case you don't know, here is sea level, and here is New Orleans. And New Orleans is right next to the sea. And so there's like a wall holding the ocean back. And when Katrina came in, the walls went tumbling down and the ocean moved in. And now the ocean is falling down upon New Orleans and all those low-lying areas, and it's flooding them out. And I was thinking about that today, and I want you to see the symbolism of this here. Because I've taught, and think of as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. Think about that. Think about that idea. Think about what the Bible says that floods and waves represent. Let me read some verses here. Psalm 18:4. The sorrows of death compassed me, and listen to this, the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. So here is the symbolism language of the Bible, and the Bible will always tell you what the symbol means. If the Bible says, oh, here's a rock, well, the Bible's going to tell you what that rock is. You don't need to go looking everywhere else. The Bible will tell you what the rock is. And so the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. There is a flood of iniquity and ungodly men rising up above the level of Christianity, especially in this country. We are being flooded. We are being overflowed with ungodliness in this nation. Think about the ramifications of it. Psalm 32, verse 6, for this shall everyone that is godly pray unto thee in a time when thou mayest be found. Surely in the floods of great waters they shall not come nigh unto him. Think about it. And you know what? I'm going to go to the context. Psalm 32 just happens to be one of my favorite places in the Bible. I love it. Look at verse 5. And if you're in Psalm 32, look at verse 5. I acknowledge my sin unto thee. It's about sin. I acknowledge my sin unto thee, and mine iniquity have I not hid. I said, I will confess my transgressions unto the Lord, and thou forgavest the iniquity of my sin. For this shall everyone that is godly pray unto thee in the time when thou mayest be found. Surely in the floods of great waters they shall not come nigh unto him. That is the sinfulness, the ramifications of sin. And I want to tell you something, Christian. You can get overwhelmed with sin. You can get overwhelmed with sinfulness. You can kind of get back on God a little bit. Cry out to him. Call unto him. Do what David did. Acknowledge your sin. He didn't say go around looking for everybody else's. Acknowledge your sin. By the way, I would like to see just one time In case you don't know, there's some people out on YouTube that do not like Mike Hoggard, and I'm fine with that. And I watch what they say. I want to hear what's being said, because I listen even to the critics. I listen to what people say. I think I have an obligation to do that. But there are some out there that are just brutal and they're mean. And just one time I would like to hear some of these people say, let me tell you what's wrong with me. Let me tell you how messed up I am. I mean, I know Mike Hoggard's messed up, but let me tell you about me. Let me tell you what's wrong with me. And I think the greatest thing that any born-again, Bible-believing Christian has is a self-personal awareness of their own iniquity and their own transgressions. An idea that they know full well what they're capable of. I know me. I know what I can do. Okay? I know what I can do. I know what my flesh is capable of. Thank God for the Spirit of God that prevents it. But I know what's in me. And I'm going to deal with that here in a minute. And I promise to get to your emails, and I know I'm just rambling, but I just want you to, I acknowledge my sin unto thee, and in mine iniquity have I not hid. And I'm telling you, born-again, Bible-believing Christian, the best thing that you've got going for you is an honest attitude about your own sinfulness. You're honest to goodness to you. You know who you are, and you know what Christ has done in you. Psalm 93:3, the floods have lifted up, O Lord, the floods have lifted up their voice, the floods have lifted up their waves. And I want you to think about this. I want you to think about the Aquarian symbol, the two waves representing the kingdoms, one from below and one from above. I want you to think about that. The floods, when you hear the New Agers talk about the waves, how waves change the frequencies of your DNA. You need the waves to change your DNA. When you hear the New Agers, when you hear people like Beth Moore and you hear people like Patricia King and these others talking about how you need to get in tune with God, how you need to have the new transmissions coming in, and you need to get God's DNA. When you hear talk like that, red flags are going up, and you're going, wait a minute, I think I know where this is headed. Isaiah 28:2, behold, the Lord hath a mighty and a strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. Isaiah 28 is that passage where it's here a little, there a little, and the drunkards of Ephraim. Isaiah 59:19, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood. Notice how the Bible constantly is talking about your sin. It's talking about ungodly men. The enemy, when the enemy shall come in like a flood. Listen to what the Bible's telling us. The Aquarian age symbol is dead on in what they're telling you we're headed toward. We're headed to a flood similar to the days of Noah. But God promised he would not flood the earth with water anymore. But there is a flood of the enemy coming in. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith the Lord. Isaiah 59:19, so shall they fear